good morning, and welcome again to another one of our podcasts. Here, this is your boy, your men's life coach Rolando. You are in tune to XY Spark, the podcast for men. And today we are here, guys, and we want to just remind you that this is our Motivation Monday episode. This is our Motivation Monday episode, and we want to just continue to encourage all of our listeners, all the men who have been joining us here on XY Spark, all the men that continue to participate in our conversations, and all the women as well who continue to like, comment, and share. We just want to say thank you. We appreciate you. And our show would not be the same if you did not take the time to be a part of our conversation. So thank you. A million thank yous going out to our faithful followers and listeners. Thank you to those who have been commenting as we try to navigate our way through our day to day activities. And we are in the business of empowering men. We are in the business of talking about men's mental health, and we're in the business of seeking to normalize the conversations about men's mental health. Why? Because men's mental health is not something that we talk about enough. And let me give an example. We oftentimes wait until November and we talk about it's a mental health month. And I'm in the business of appealing to everyone or every organization, whether you are in the community, whether you are in the government, federal or provincial. My appeal is men's mental health is something that we should talk about every single day. Why? Because it is in talking about it every single day that we're able to normalize it. And when we normalize these conversations, more men will seek to come out of the woodwork, so to speak, and acknowledge that they are struggling with their mental health. I want to also remind you guys that right now we are live on YouTube, we're live on TikTok, and we are also live on Podbean. You can find XY Spark podcast on Podbean. Listen, I want you guys to go out there and tell somebody, tell another guy, tell a brother, tell a dad, tell a son, tell a coworker that you need to tune in to the XY Spark podcast, the podcast for men. And so today, guys, we want to talk about navigating mental health in marriage. Navigating mental health in marriage. Let me say a big shout out to all those who are joining us here on TikTok. I see you. I appreciate you. Hey, I see you, Uba. Where are you shouting from? Shane, I see you totally. I see you, Gordon. I see you. Welcome to the podcast, guys. And listen, I want you guys to also know that you are more than welcome to join in the conversation. So if you're joining us live on YouTube, live on the Podbean app, live on TikTok, please like, share, comment, join the conversation. Let's chat. So, today, guys, we're chatting about mental health and marriage and navigating mental health in marriage. Guys, I have to say that I've seen this so many times. But what does mental health look like in a marriage? How are you able to identify when your partner is struggling with their mental health? Hey, Shahid, I see you. You have entered the live studio. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to you there joining us on the podcast. But what does mental health look like in marriage? Is mental health something that you are able to identify easily in your partner? Do you notice anything different about your partner? Do you notice anything that is off key with your partner? Hey, good. We have someone joining us from South America. Great to have you. Shout out to our South American listeners. So, guys, I just wanted to start off the conversation, and please feel free to type a question in the chat box on YouTube, on TikTok, or even on the Podbean app. That's what we're here to do, guys. We're here to talk about it, to normalize these conversations. I also wanted you guys to know that I'm wide open to having even some life coaching calls in the moment. If you have a question about navigating mental health in marriage, you can type it in there as well, and we can talk about it. So we here at XY Spark, we want to hear from you, because guys, guess what, this is how we normalize, and that's the goal here on XY Spark. We want to start normalizing talking about men's mental health, and today we're talking about navigating mental health in marriage. So what are some of the signs that we see, or what are some of the signs that we need to be aware of, or how do we navigate our way through mental health in marriage? Now, oftentimes when your partner is struggling with mental health, you will see several things start happening. You'll see that they're isolating a lot more than they normally would. And what does that look like? That means that oftentimes you'll be there with your partner, but your partners are there. They isolate in their phones. They isolate sometimes by playing games. They isolate by, not talking much or interacting much, even at dinner. Sometimes they will give you one word answers when you try to engage with them. Sometimes you notice that they may be drinking a bit more than they normally would. It's a difference from having a glass of wine at dinner to having a bottle of wine every night. Then you know that, hey, wait a minute, something is off. It's a difference from your partner going and saying, hey, you know what, I'm just going to take a break here to, take a smoke, versus drowning themselves, or most of the time you see them looking like, hey, wait a minute here, my partner is almost turned a human chimney because they're smoking a lot more than normal. So understanding and identifying some of those marks is a good place to start by saying, hey, it looks like my partner mental health is out of sync. Another thing to look for when, if you want to and know that your partner is struggling with their mental health. If you see like they are isolating there, and I said that, but this time around I'm talking about they are not as interactive with the kids, if they're kids in the home, as they once were. They're not going out with friends. They're someone that probably used to be in the gym a bit. They used to exercise. They used to play sports. They used to be excited to go for walks. They used to enjoy going out for dinner the occasional time. But you notice they are not doing any of that anymore. Your partner's mental health is needs CPR. So how do we navigate these things? Okay, one of the first things that we need to do, guys, we need to do is, number one is, if you realize that you being the first place of contact, engage with them as much as they'll allow you to. Check in to see where they're at, what's going on. Offer to support them in accessing supports to get their mental health issue addressed. Oftentimes that comes in so many different ways. If you find that they are not connecting with you, if you find that your partner isn't connecting with you when you reach out to them, then you want to find somebody who they consider to be um uh, who they consider to be like a mentor or a friend, or someone who they listen to, right? Seek to find someone like that who can connect with them and say, hey, what's going on? Now, my reason for saying this, guys, is this, that oftentimes when a man's mental health is out of sync, he doesn't open himself up for any form of intervention. Why? Because opening himself up for any intervention is a show or a sign, or for him, he believes that he's going to look weak if he does that. So, what is his next option? He isolates. right? So if you find that he's isolating a lot and he's not opening himself up to any form of intervention, then we have got to be careful. We have got to carefully continue to seek to encourage, and encouraging our partner sometimes, it means not being too intrusive, not being too pushy, but just checking in with him occasionally. Hey, how are you doing? How are things going? Is there anything that you need from me? Hey, honey, I noticed that you have not been yourself of lately. Would you like me to support you in doing some research to try and connect with somebody, who can help you? Because I'm worried about your health. I'm worried about your mental health. I'm worried about your wellness, because I've noticed that you're not yourself, yeah, and I'm concerned a bit about that. So guys, navigating our mental health in marriage is sometimes such a delicate thing. And sometimes what I've noticed is a lot of persons, they resort to not saying much, or even sometimes not doing much, out of the fear of offending their partner, because they're noticing more and more that my partner is in a very, very, very fragile place. And because of the fragility of the space that your partner is in, you prefer to not say anything. So you sort of you back away from that, because you also don't want to be too confrontational. So you back away from that. And as you back away from that, it's almost as if the symptoms of the mental health, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Sometimes some of the things that triggers mental health in men is, let's say he got a report back from his doctor that he's not doing well. All right, and in getting that report, his partner noticed now that his behaviors have changed significantly. Why? Because oftentimes when a man gets a report from his doctor, he falls into deep grief. He falls into grief. He falls into depression. All right. And in fall, the grief that he goes into right there and then is that he realizes that he's losing some of his faculties as it relates to what the report is. He realizes that I'm not going to be able to do stuff like that again. And so a lot of men, they carry grief in so many different ways. The grief, is that, hey, I used to be a super active person. Based on this report, I won't be able to be as active anymore. So he falls into grief. All right. He learns sometimes that, hey, you know what? Maybe all my ability to function effectively in the marriage is not going to be there. I can't work as hard anymore. I may not be even able to satisfy my partner's sexual needs um as I once could. And so he falls into grief of that. And oftentimes, navigating that may mean having those conversations with your doctor to find out if there is medication or anything that you can access to help with that, in order for you to not stay stuck in that space where you're grieving. Navigating away through mental health in marriage, oftentimes, guys, is, hey, all right, so now we know that this is our new reality. How do we make the best of what's going on now, here and now? And that's an important part for us to understand. When we get certain news, sudden news, that's a shocker, we want to step back and look at, hey, guess what? Now that I know what's going on, what do I do in the here and now that's going to help me to navigate this news in a healthy way? And that's the thing that sort of destroys us as men. When we get shocking news, we have not learned how to navigate the shocking news in a healthy way. Shocking news, you got to call your mom just passed away, for example, or your dad just passed away, or a sibling just passed away. Shocking news that you're laid off from work, right? And all of these things happen. Shocking news. Hey, your partner gives you a call and they say to you, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. So many different scenarios, happens sometimes to us as men, and it hits us, and it impacts our mental health negatively. And learning how to navigate our way through mental health, when especially it's a marriage, it's not an easy thing to do, guys. That's the reality. And one of the things that you should not and you must never do is you try to do it on your own. Recognize that, hey, I do not have all the tools or the skills to support my partner, who obviously I can see that they are struggling with their mental health, but there are people out there who have the skills to do it. And so your role as the partner, as the spouse of someone, is seek to access the supports, and you can even bring the resources home and say to your partner, hey, you know what, because of the concerns, or based on what we talked about or some things I've seen, I just wanted to give these resources to you. And of course, a lot of men, they are going to be resistant to that, because they're going to be like, are you saying something is wrong with me? Do you think, are you judging me? Right? A lot of men will do that. Are you judging me? And they may even fly off the handle on you. But guys, here's what I want to say to you. In navigating away through mental health, and this may sound tough, let your partner be mad at you for trying to do something good than them being mad at you for not trying at all. Do you hear what I'm saying? So sometimes, yes, your partner may be mad at you because they think, well, you're judging me. Are you saying that, I'm mad? Are you saying that, I'm. No, I'm just saying, based on my observation, I can see that you have not been yourself of lately. And I just wanted to offer what little supports I know of. All right. Offer to make some calls with your partner. Offer to accompany your partner to go to therapy. Okay. If your partner is struggling and you notice that, hey, it's a drinking problem, it's a drug problem, I'm saying navigating your way through that means that you've got to stop being an enabler in the marriage, and you've got to start connecting your partner with healthy community resources that is going to get them from where they are to where they need to be. Guys, it's not an easy spot to be in. When you got married to somebody who were motivated, who were excited about life, someone who was going somewhere, someone who you were excited to go home to after work, someone who, when they were gone, you feel like, hey, when are they coming back? To now, it's almost as if they're not there. Navigating away through mental health is when you're able to identify that we're no longer in a relationship, in a healthy relationship. We're just in a relationship. We're no longer in a relationship, but we have a roommate agreement. So navigating on the way, guys, through mental health is identifying that these things are now your new reality, and doing what is necessary to break those cycles. And why I'm having this conversation this morning, guys, is that several relationship ended in the man going off and committing suicide. Yes, guys, that's the reality. And these topics we don't talk about as much on the air like this, because a lot of persons shy away from it. A lot of persons tend to think that, hey, we shouldn't talk about that. But guys, that's the reality. More and more men are dying by suicide because in their relationship, they're in a relationship, and all of a sudden things are not as beautiful as it once was. He isolates, he starts hurting himself, and it ends up being more and more and more detrimental. It says here, and I want to read a comment, and thank you for sharing a comment. I'll keep the name of the person, but listen to this, guys. Listen to one of the comments in our podcast. It says, when men don't make enough money, it affects their mental health because they start living in lack. and society is cold and careless. They are afraid to ask for help because they will get insulted and humiliated. So friends, families, and society becomes more compassionate, right? And compassionate, caring, and helpful. Men get support and they can depend on others. Thank you for this. This is so true. This is like bang on, guys. And I want to sort of reiterate. Thank you for sharing this. And I'm saying, to our TikTok viewers, if you have a thought, please share it, because this is such a powerful thought here that is shared. It says when men don't make enough money, it affects their mental health because they are living in lack, and that's so true, right? One of the things that really affects a man's mental health, and I agree with you there, my listener, is that he's not making enough. There's poverty, there's need, and it affects him. And of course, right? And then he says this. My view says, and society is cold and careless. They are afraid to ask for help. And you are so right. I agree with you. This is why we need to normalize these conversations as men, right? And the appeal is to every community organization, wherever you are, every government, provincial, federal, to normalize this conversation. Let it be that more men are able to come out of the woodwork and talk about it, right? Because he says that when they ask for help, they get insulted and humiliated, and this is such a sad reality. It is the fact. This is why we bottle up. This is why men bottle up. This is why men stay away from coming out of the woodwork and talking about it. I heard a crazy story once. One guy said this to me. He said, Rolando, I dare not show any form of weakness in my relationship, because if I do, my partner will think I'm weak. So sometimes, even in a marital relationship, there are men who they believe that showing any form of vulnerability in their marriage is weakness, right? But their behaviors change, the relationship dynamic change, and their partners see that. So I'm saying, in order to address that, there has got to be more safer spaces created in marriage. So ladies, if you see the guy struggling there, don't judge him, don't talk down to him, don't let him feel weak, don't let him feel helpless, don't let him feel like he's not man enough, right? Remember that he's allowed to be human and feel. And as you connect with him, ladies, and you're able to support him, you'll find that whenever he's in a spot where he feels like he's struggling, he'll be able to say, hey, I'm not doing well. I need help. So, navigating our mental health in marriage, in a relationship, it calls for a lot of commitment. It's going to be challenging. It calls for you to ask curious questions. It calls for you sometimes to make some big decisions, right, about how and what you can do in the moment to support your partner. And all of this becomes critical as it relates to navigating our mental health. So guys, understanding this is going to be a beautiful shift in getting more men to heal, getting more men to be open to accepting interventions, getting more men to recognize that, hey, I am struggling, I'm not doing well, I need support, and I'm going to step out of this space where I've been stuck, and I'm going to seek to get support. Let's just send a shout out to all my TikTok. Hey, shout out Ryan, Blueberry Joyce. I see you. Northern, I see you guys. Oh, and I see you. Thank you for joining us here. So, guys, it's definitely not an easy thing, to navigate your way through mental illness. But I also want to talk about, how does a man support his partner when they notice that their mental health is out of sync. And that also sometimes become a tough one because let me just shock you guys to say that oftentimes some of the same things that men do when their mental health is out of sync. I've heard stories of, hey, there are women who do, they isolate too. They more short fused. They do more risky things. They spend a lot more time sort of self-harming and pushing their partners away. And it's not easy for a man to navigate his way through that because sometimes he feels discouraged. He feels like, why am I doing this? As a matter of fact, when a man is in a relationship where he's really struggling to support his partner whose mental health is out of sync, it affects his mental health. So the next thing that you've got to recognize and you've got to learn to do as a man when you see that your partner's mental health is deteriorating is get help for yourself, right? Because that's going to get you discouraged. That's going to get you feeling depressed. That's going to get you feeling like, hey, what's happening here? So as you realize that you will starting to get a little more anxious, then you as a man, you have got to take the lead and get the help to address your mental health, right? Because the important piece to understand is this: is that you can only take care of your mental health. You can seek to support your partner. You can seek to get point into resources. You can seek to get interventions from people who you guys know and trust, who you're connected with, but they have to do the work. So navigating with your mental health in marriage is also important for you to know your limits and recognize that, hey, there are some there are some things that needs to happen in this that I can't do. So you can't do the work for your partner when your partner's mental health is out of sync. Only your partner can do that work. All right. But getting intervention and all that piece is critical. I want to sort of reiterate a part of the last point that one of my listeners put here in the chat, which is this. It says is that friends, family, and society becomes more compassionate and caring and helpful. This is a powerful place for us to reflect on. This listener is saying that families and society and the community need to become more compassionate and helpful, okay, so that men can get support. You are so right, because that's the reason why a lot of men do not come out. When a man shows up and asks for help, is almost as if, what's your problem? We're saying that more of us has got to start showing up. More of us has got to start talking about our mental health so that we can heal and we can grow and we can become the best version of ourselves. Listen, guys, all of you, you have been an amazing audience today. Thank you for joining us here again on XY Spark. This is your boy, your men's life coach, Rolando. And we continue to reiterate that personal development is not an event, it is a lifestyle. And at XY Spark, we just want you guys to know that our commitment is to seek to empower and encourage you to engage in this lifestyle so that you can grow to become the best version of yourself. Wherever you joined us from today, whether you're in South America, North America, in the Caribbean, wherever you are on TikTok, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. And we will be here again tomorrow morning, same time, same place, as we talk about Transformation Tuesday. And we hope that you will be here. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is your boy Rolando. Remember, at XY Spark, we believe that there is a spark in you. We will see you again next time. Have a great day.